When I look back, there was a time when all I wanted was success. That kind of success everyone talks about: fame, recognition, trophies. I was young, ambitious, and I believed that if I could just reach the top, I'd finally feel fulfilled. So I chased it with everything I had. I trained harder, pushed further, stayed longer. And yes, I achieved it. The accolades came, the applause, the headlines, but something inside still felt empty. The world tells you that success is the ultimate destination, that if you just get there, get the promotion, the wealth, the spotlight, you'll be happy. But that's a lie most people don't realize until it's too late. I got there and I still found myself asking, is this it? Is this all there is? See, success as the world defines it is often an illusion. It's a moving target. The moment you reach one milestone, there's another one waiting. And in that endless chase, you forget to ask the real question: why am I doing this? What's the reason behind all this effort? When you don't know your why, success becomes hollow. It's like climbing a ladder only to realize it's been leaning against the wrong wall. What changed everything for me was realizing that purpose is far more powerful than success. Purpose gives you direction. It grounds you. It's not about reaching the top. It's about why you want to get there in the first place. And when your actions come from that place of meaning, success stops being the goal and starts becoming a natural result of who you are and what you're meant to do. I had to unlearn a lot. I had to stop chasing the image of success the world had sold me and start listening to that quiet voice inside, the one that asked deeper questions. What impact am I making? Who am I helping? How am I serving something larger than myself? And let me tell you something, when you find that purpose, it fuels you in a way that applause never could. Purpose doesn't burn out. It doesn't fade when the crowds go home. It sticks with you. It becomes your compass when things get tough. And trust me, things will get tough. Success might give you a high for a moment, but purpose gives you the strength to get back up when you fall. You can spend your whole life chasing success and still feel lost. But when you chase purpose, even your failures feel meaningful. You stop to understand that every setback is part of a bigger picture. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And you start asking, what is this teaching me? That shift from chasing success to chasing purpose is the most important decision you can make. Because here's the truth. Success may impress people, but purpose moves people. It inspires them. It connects you to others in ways that personal achievement never could. When you're driven by purpose, people don't just admire you, they believe in you, they follow you, they grow with you. So if you're feeling lost, if you're stuck in the chase, if you're exhausted trying to keep up with the world's definition of success, pause for a moment. Reflect. Ask yourself, not what do I want, but why do I want it? What kind of life do I want to lead? What legacy do I want to leave? Because when you stop chasing success and start chasing purpose, everything changes. The direction becomes clearer. The struggle becomes worth it. And the life you build becomes not just successful, but significant. That's when you truly begin to rise. Most people think that what keeps you going through the hard times is talent or discipline, or maybe even luck. But the truth is, it's purpose. Purpose is what gives you resilience. It's what holds you up when everything else is trying to bring you down, because the road to anything meaningful isn't smooth. It's filled with failure. rejection, and moments where quitting seems like the easiest option. And if all you're chasing is success, those moments will break you. I've been through times where nothing made sense, times when people doubted me, when I doubted myself, times when every effort seemed to lead nowhere. You can be the most skilled person in the room, but if your only goal is success, you'll fold when it doesn't come quickly. Because success doesn't show up on your timeline, it's never guaranteed. But purpose gives you a reason to stand back up again and again, no matter how many times you're knocked down. There's something powerful that happens when you're not driven by ego, but by mission. When you believe in something greater than yourself, setbacks don't stop you, they sharpen you. You begin to see every challenge as part of the process, not the end of the journey. That's the difference. Purpose turns pain into fuel. It turns frustration into focus. It turns defeat into discipline. People often ask, how did you keep going when everything seemed against you? And the answer is always the same. I knew why I started. I wasn't just doing it for recognition or applause. I was doing it because I believed in what I was fighting for. That belief made it impossible to walk away, even when the odds were stacked high. When your heart is aligned with your mission, quitting is no longer an option. It just doesn't sit right in your soul. You see, success is fragile. One bad day, one failure, and it can disappear. But purpose, real purpose, is unshakable. It becomes your anchor in the storm. It gives you the strength to show up when it's uncomfortable, to persist when it's painful, to stand tall when everything else around you is falling apart. And here's something I've learned. The moments that feel like the biggest failures are often the ones shaping your greatest growth. But you only see that when you're walking in purpose. Otherwise, all you see is disappointment. Purpose gives you the patience to endure the delay. It helps you understand that just because it's not happening now, doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with wanting to succeed. But if that's all you're chasing, the first storm will knock you off your path. If you want to build something that lasts, something that matters, then you need something deeper than ambition. You need a reason that's strong enough to carry you through the days when success feels a million miles away. Because in the end, it's not about how many times you win, it's about how many times you get back up and why you do. There comes a point in life when personal glory just isn't enough. You achieve what you set out to do. You tick all the boxes, and yet something inside still feels incomplete. I know what it's like to stand at the top, to have your name celebrated, to be recognized for your achievements. And while that moment feels good, it doesn't last. That kind of success is fleeting. It disappears as quickly as it comes. And if your whole identity is tied to that applause, you're left wondering what comes next. There was a moment when I had to ask myself, what now? What do you do when the dream you've chased for so long has been realized, and yet you still feel a pull towards something more? That's when everything changed. That's when I began to understand that life isn't just about personal triumphs. It's about taking the strength, the platform, the influence you've earned, and using it for something beyond yourself. That shift from thinking about what I could gain to what I could give wasn't easy. It meant stepping into unknown territory. It meant facing criticism, resistance, and at times, deep loneliness. But it also meant stepping into real purpose. Because when you move from chasing personal recognition to serving something bigger, your life takes on a whole new dimension. It's not about denying ambition or turning away from excellence. It's about redefining success. Nothing compares to the impact you're making on people's lives. Nothing compares to it. In the beginning, people may not understand why you're changing direction. They'll question your motives. Some will say you've lost focus or stepped out of your lane. But purpose doesn't need everyone's approval. It just needs your commitment. And when you commit to something greater than yourself, you begin to grow in ways you never imagined. You become more patient, more disciplined, more courageous, because suddenly it's not just about your own victory. It's about creating a future where others can rise too. That's where leadership begins. Not when you demand attention, but when you offer service. Not when you chase praise, but when you chase change. We all start with personal dreams, and there's nothing wrong with that. But at some point, life gives you the opportunity to aim higher. Not in status, but in meaning. And when that moment comes, you have to decide, will I keep chasing the same kind of success, or will I step into a calling that's not just about me? The truth is, the journey from personal glory to national or even global service is the one that transforms you the most. It challenges you, stretches you, and ultimately defines your legacy. Because in the end, the greatest victories aren't the ones you win for yourself, they're the ones you win for others. There's something I've seen time and time again. When you chase success directly, it often slips through your fingers. But when you commit to a deeper purpose, the right kind of success starts to find you. It's not forced, it's not chased. It aligns naturally with who you are and what you stand for. You don't have to pretend, you don't have to impress anyone. You just live your truth, and that truth attracts the kind of people, opportunities, and results that match your values. The world pushes you to run after status, numbers, titles, as if those things alone will bring fulfillment. But what they don't tell you is how exhausting that game becomes. How quickly you lose yourself trying to fit into a version of success that was never meant for you. And even if you win at that game, you often realize it wasn't worth it. That's the trap. You reach the top only to find you climbed the wrong mountain. But when you shift the focus inward and ask yourself, what matters to me? What impact do I want to have? Everything changes. Your decisions become clearer. You stop saying yes to every shiny opportunity and start choosing the ones that align with your mission. That kind of clarity is powerful. It filters out the noise. It keeps you grounded when the pressure builds. I never chased influence for the sake of it. I never woke up thinking, how can I be more popular today? The focus was always on the mission. What am I building? Who am I helping? How am I moving this vision forward? And strangely enough, that's what drew people in. Not the pursuit of success, but the clarity of purpose behind it. When you move with purpose, people feel it. They may not always agree with you, but they'll respect your conviction. Because in a world full of noise and confusion, people are looking for something real. And there's nothing more real than someone who is walking in alignment with their purpose. So don't waste your energy chasing a version of success that isn't yours. Define your purpose, commit to it fully, and let that guide your steps. Because when your path is built on meaning, success becomes not just a destination, but a reflection of who you truly are. When you live with purpose, people can feel it without you having to say a word. Purpose has a certain energy. It's not loud or flashy, but it's magnetic. It pulls people toward you because deep down, everyone is looking for something real. And when they see someone who's truly driven by something bigger than themselves, it makes them stop and pay attention. You don't need perfect words, big titles, or endless resources to inspire others. You just need clarity. When you're clear about what you stand for and why you do what you do, people respond to that. They're drawn not just to your actions, but to the intention behind them. They see that you're not in it for fame or approval. You're in it because you believe in something. And belief is powerful. It lights a fire in others. I've seen people follow not because they were promised comfort, but because they felt a deeper conviction. They saw that I was willing to keep going even when it was difficult, even when it seemed impossible. And that kind of determination only comes from purpose. It's not something you can fake. It comes from a place so rooted inside you that no amount of pressure can shake it loose. You see, people don't want perfection from a leader. They want authenticity. They want to know that you're not just chasing the same things everyone else is chasing. They want to believe in something. And if you're walking in purpose, you give them a reason to believe not just in you, but in what's possible for themselves. When you act with purpose, you create a ripple effect. Your courage gives others permission to be courageous. Your consistency gives others strength. And your belief in something greater invites others to believe too. That's what real leadership is, not control, not status, influence through integrity. So if you're wondering how to inspire others, how to be heard in a world full of noise, the answer isn't to speak louder, it's to live clearer. Live in alignment with your values. Walk your talk. Let your life reflect your mission. Because the more honest and purposeful you are in your journey, the more others will find direction in theirs. And in doing that, you don't just inspire people, you ignite them. When you discover your purpose and commit to it fully, something remarkable happens. You don't just improve your own life, you begin to transform entire systems around you. That's the power of walking in alignment with what truly matters. Purpose isn't small. It doesn't just touch the surface. It challenges the status quo. It forces change. And sometimes it shakes the foundations of things that have stood untouched for years. But here's what most people don't realize. When you step into that kind of purpose, it won't be easy. In fact, the moment you start disrupting what's broken, you're going to face resistance. Systems don't change willingly. Whether it's corruption, injustice, or apathy, these things hold on tightly. But if your purpose is strong, if your belief is unshakable, you can outlast them. And not just outlast them, you can reshape. I never wanted to be part of a system just to blend in. That was never the point. The goal was to challenge it, to offer a different path, and to create something better, something fairer, something that could serve people who had been ignored for too long. And that kind of purpose, when it comes from the heart, it becomes your fuel. You stop thinking in terms of personal comfort and you start thinking in terms of impact. Not just short-term wins, but long-term change. People often think they need permission to make a difference. They wait for the perfect moment, the ideal circumstances, or someone else to take the first step, but that moment rarely comes. If you wait too long, you get stuck in the same cycles you once promised yourself you'd break. Purpose doesn't wait. It acts. It moves. Even when the conditions aren't perfect. Even when the voices of doubt get loud. And here's the beautiful thing. When you live with purpose, you don't just inspire people, you empower them. You help them see that change is possible, that they too can stand up, speak out, and push back against the things that hold them and their communities down. That's when purpose becomes a force, Not just personal, but collective. Not just emotional, but transformational. You don't need a title to make an impact. You don't need everyone to agree with you. All you need is the courage to act on what you know is right. The systems that seem untouchable only stay that way until someone decides they've had enough. Until someone stands up and says, "This isn't good enough. We can do better," and then backs it with action, with persistence, with vision. That's what purpose does. It takes you beyond personal goals and places you at the center of meaningful change. It may be uncomfortable, it may take time, but in the end, it creates something far greater than success ever could. It creates a legacy. So in the end, it's not about how much you've achieved, how many people know your name, or how high you've climbed. It's about why you started in the first place. It's about whether you lived a life that meant something, whether you stood for something when it mattered, whether you gave more than you took. Success will come and go, but purpose that stays with you, that carries you forward when everything else fades. So don't chase success, chase purpose. Because when you do, you don't just rise, you help others rise with you.